Hey there, Sooner football fans. Parker Thune, Jesse Crittenden here with you, OUinsider.com, as we bring you another quick Slants video focused on the buzz coming out of fall camp. Who's standing out, who's making a push to the top of the depth chart. And Jesse, there have been a couple scrimmages since last we did one of these videos. This is something we're going to try to bring to you every week as camp rolls on at Oklahoma. Just a general sense of what's happening on the practice field and who the individual standouts are. But I think we have to start with one guy that you and I have both expressed a lot of confidence in to take a major leap as a true sophomore. Or actually, did he redshirt last year? I can't recall. But regardless, Nick Anderson is somebody that has lit it up on the practice field the last couple of weeks for Oklahoma, has been a standout in every single scrimmage to this point. And I think in the eyes of a lot of folks close to the team, it really starting to separate himself from the crowd as somebody that can have a huge impact for this offense and has already earned himself quite a solid share of the snaps, at least in the early stages of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you and I have talked about it a million times before, but the main question, no one's ever doubted the talent. No one's ever doubted the skill. It's about, can he put it all together? Can he stay healthy? And I think that's what you want to see. And when you want to see in fall camp is players that have talent, but, maybe their first year was tough for him, for somebody like him. You want to see them put together on the field consistently, practice after practice, make an impact. And they inserted him into the first string and individual drills and team drills. They inserted him pretty quickly. And it makes clear sense why. Not only has he shown a lot of flashes, but he just brings something this wide receiver group desperately needs, especially if you're going to be playing Jalil Farouk and Drake Stoops, who are really good receivers, but not super tall. They don't bring much size. Yeah, I think Nick Anderson, as time goes on, man, and as long as the more time we see practice, the more time we see, the more time we talk to people around the program, I'm become more and more convinced that Nick Anderson is going to be that third starter and that he is going to have a huge year. I think he's the breakout player. The offensive player waiting for a breakout season. I think that's him this year.
Let's talk about a couple of freshmen here. Jaquez Petaway is a guy that has made some big time plays on the practice field and still unclear as to how much of a snap count he's going to be on to start the year as a true freshman and as somebody who's on an accelerated clock, in essence, in terms of the time he's had to digest the playbook, having only gotten to campus in June. But somebody whose physical ceiling is obviously very high. And then Peyton Bowen, Jesse, I know you guys got the opportunity to talk with him after practice a couple days ago, but I think if nothing else, it has become clear from Bowen's comments and the comments of Brent Venables and the press availabilities we had with him is that they're trying to find ways to get Peyton Bowen on the field. And it might not be in exactly the ways that we expect or the conventional wisdom would suggest, because you do have two rock solid safeties back there in Billy Bowman and Reggie Pearson. You do have other guys in the mix at Cheetah, but it seems that Venables and that defensive staff, by hook or by crook, just want to get Bowen amongst the 11 on the field.
Yeah, no, and I posted a video from his availability where I asked him, how much are you moving across the defense? How many positions are you playing? He said 5. He has spent time at 5 different positions on the defense in the first couple of weeks of fall camp. And I heard some people mention, or in my mentions, talk about, is this a Billy Bowman 2.0 where they put too much on him and it's overwhelming? I don't see it that way. No, it's not that's impossible. I don't see it that way. I see it as a couple of different things. One, I think they really feel confident in guys like Reggie Pearson and Billy Bowman at safety. I think that's one. Two, I think I think they see him as almost like a jack of all trades, where you can insert him and he can fill a lot of different roles. They don't want to hamstring him into one specific role. And three, I think Peyton Bowen really likes this. I think he likes going around different positions. I think he likes getting different looks. I think it's a challenge for him. I think it's a test for him. But I think Brent Venables said it. He sees the game differently than other freshmen, and I think this is certainly a part of that.
Yeah, and I don't think Venables and this defensive staff would be trying to get Bowen to bite off more than he could chew in his very first fall camp as a college football player. And there are a couple of key differences between the Bowen situation and the Billy Bowman situation back in 2021. One being that Peyton Bowen has spent the majority of his football life playing defensive back, at least at the high school level. When you reflect on the star that he was at Denton Guyer High, he was primarily playing defensive back. When Billy Bowman got to campus, he was a lot more familiar with the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side. And he'd played defense in high school, but as you recall, he was committed to Texas for over a year, and the plan for him there was to play wide receiver. So all that to say, I don't think Billy Bowman necessarily had the same comfort level playing defense that Peyton Bowen has. And also, Bowen is just an exceptionally intelligent football player, and this manifests itself in lots of different ways. But when you have a guy who's so intelligent and also so physically gifted, yeah, a couple of things make sense. One, you want to bounce him around and see what all he's capable of and see where his limits are, because it goes without saying, a 5-star recruit like that, he's going to have his limits are going to expand beyond the scope of what a traditional football player's limits would be. But also, if he's somebody that can help you on Saturdays, you want to find a window for a guy like that. You want to find an opportunity. You want to find a lane to playing time for a guy like that, even if it's not always at safety. And I think that brings us to the next point, Jesse, which is that Reggie Pearson continues to really flash on the practice field and in scrimmages, and very much appears to be, well, the Sooners already have an alpha at safety in Billy Bowman. They might have 2 alphas in Bowman, or in Bowman and Pearson, excuse me. So with those 2 hanging back there, Jesse, that has the potential to be the best Sooner safety tandem since who?
I mean, that's been the knock on this defense for 10 or 15 years, right? It's the secondary. That's really been the primary knock. I think there's every bit of reason to feel more confident about the secondary. And like you said, I mean, I think Reggie Pearson is going to have a huge role. But so if you have Billy Bowman and Reggie Pearson, who deserve a lot of reps at safety, but you also have a true freshman who could play a lot of different, I mean, it makes sense to try to find other ways so you can have all 3 of them on the field at once. That was my takeaway from this, is they want to give minutes to Reggie Pearson, but they don't want that to take away from Peyton Bowen. Parker, I'm gonna throw something quick at you though. I want to ask you about the running back room, because I think that running back room has been, now I don't know if anything has massively changed. I think the expectation is for Gavin Sawchuk and Javonte Barnes to be the top 2 guys, but with Gavin Sawchuk nursing a little bit of an injury, and he talked about that on Tuesday, I think Marcus Major is getting a lot of play as well, especially in individual drills. Has anything for you changed about that running back room, or maybe your overall outlook on it?
No, I know in the Wednesday scrimmage, Javonte Barnes fumbled, which, is never what you want to see in a scrimmage type situation. And ball security for Barnes has not been a tremendous issue up until this point. So you can write it off as a blip to a certain extent. But I think when you're dealing with a razor thin battle, much like this battle between Sawchuk and Barnes, and look, I think both guys are going to see a lot of playing time regardless, but that might be one of those things that DeMarco Murray reflects on at the end of camp, and that kind of inclines him to tip the scales a little bit more in Gavin Sawchuk's favor. But that's obviously contingent upon Sawchuk being fully healthy. So definitely something to monitor as we enter the last few days of camp, last couple of weeks leading into that opener against Arkansas State, is A, how healthy are Barnes and Sawchuk, and B, how are they looking on the practice field and in those scrimmages relative to one another, because you are going to see both of them carry the ball, I would say, at least double-digit times in every single game. They're each going to get a healthy share of the snaps. But when push comes to shove and you're in a crucial situation where you need 3 yards to move the sticks, or you got 1 drive to win the game and you need your A1 option on the field, is that going to be Sawchuk or is that going to be Barnes? And that's a question that I think remains to be answered. So regardless, I've got a lot of confidence in that running back room right now at Oklahoma, because both those guys are exceptionally talented and more than capable of being bell cows in their own right. If, God forbid, one of them were to go down with injury, I don't think that would cripple the Sooners offensively. But having both of those guys in the same backfield, the way that their skill sets complement one another is just, it has a potential to be an incredible dynamic in 2023. And both of those guys should be looked upon as dudes that, if given the opportunity, could rush for 1,000 yards individually. Now, I guess let's wrap with talking about the quarterbacks, man, because Dillon Gabriel's gotten a good, healthy push from Jackson Arnold. I'll say that much. Arnold's been impressive and has shown some real flashes, that arm talent and that quick decision-making ability. Brent Venables cited his ability to throw guys open, but nothing to this point has suggested that the starting quarterback job at Oklahoma in 2023 is going to belong to anybody but Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah, and I think what you want to see from Jackson Arnold is he progressing? Again, I don't really think the question, I think you and I agree, I don't think the question has really been, is Jackson Arnold going to overtake Dillon Gabriel? Not that you throw that out as a potential possibility, but is he progressing? Is he growing is he have the growth that you want to see from him? The answer is yes. Again, to start fall camp, he's immediately the number 2 quarterback. You strip away all of the pretenses about him potentially being the 3rd string quarterback. And I think there's just a noticeable difference when we're on the practice field, Parker. He just looks more confident. He doesn't look like a freshman. Yeah, he's throwing really good balls down the field, outside the pocket. I think that's the growth you want to see is can you tell a difference between when he arrived in the spring and now? And absolutely. And I do think he's been impressive. And I do think that is going to be a storyline as we continue, is they're going to try to get him on the field. How does he look when he's on the field? Because every indication right now suggests he is the real deal.
Man, come 2024, I will say this, that Jackson Arnold, Nick Anderson connection has the opportunity to be the most dangerous QB wide receiver tandem that the University of Oklahoma has seen since Jalen Hurts and CeeDee Lamb. I think the ceiling is that high for those two guys, especially in tandem, and they've really found a rapport from what I've been told on the practice field to this point in August. Well, that's going to put a bow on this latest installment of the Quick Slants Fall Camp Buzz series. For Jesse Crittenden, I am Parker Thune. Hey, let us know in the comments below, what do you want to hear us talk about? Could be anything related to OU football as the season draws closer and closer. Let us know. We'll evaluate your suggestions. We will produce content accordingly. That's what we're here for. You, the viewers, and the subscribers. By the way, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.